Everyone, I'm just going to give just 10 more seconds, 20 more seconds, just to let a couple more people join. Okay, we'll get started. So hi everyone, thank you for joining today in our ongoing webinar series. I know it's December and everyone's calendars are usually pretty busy around this time of year, so I really appreciate you taking the time to join and listen in. With that in mind, I hope everyone's got a tea or a coffee and is fully caffeinated and raring to go. So I can get the slide deck to work. So I'm Ashley, the customer support team lead. And although I'm not Santa, I'll be the one delivering you the gift that's information on dashboards and springboards. And that's as cheesy as it's going to get, so strap in. I'm also joined in the room by my colleague Milo, who'll be working behind the scenes if any technical issues come up. If you have any technical problems, please get him in the chat and he'll be on hand to help. Also, if you've got any topic related questions, there'll be a dedicated Q&A at the end or near the end of the webinar. So please get them in the chat as you go through as soon as you think of it. There's no such thing as a silly question, so pop them in there and I'll do my best to answer them live. If I can't answer them, someone will, either myself or someone in the team will come back to you as soon as we can. So in terms of our current series, this is the final drop-in webinar of the year. I hope you've enjoyed them. We've certainly enjoyed delivering them. And I hope you've picked up a few helpful tips and tricks along the way. But don't be sad. It's not goodbye. It's just merely we'll be back next year, kicking off on the 7th of January with a session on creating and editing fields and pick lists. So please mark it in your calendars. We look forward to seeing you again. Be sure to join us and think of it as a nice little pick-me-up after returning back to work from the holidays. Now let's get back to the agenda for today. So I'm going to start by going through some slides on dashboards, so what they are, what's a springboard, and then I'll jump into workbooks and give some insight into how they can look, how to set one up, and then how to apply filters to a dashboard as well. I'll then follow the usual format of rounding off with a recap on the session, as well as cover any questions, like I say, in that Q&A bit. And as always, I have to highlight that the session is being recorded. A copy of the session will be sent to you after the webinar. It can also be found on our website along with the previous webinars we've done. So please be sure to check it out. So what are dashboards and springboards? So a dashboard can offer you a real-time holistic view of your business. It's a great way to provide users all of the information they need from one place. And dashboards also, they allow you to collect and display reports and charts, and are typically used to monitor things like pipeline management, case handling, or tracking the financial health of your business. A springboard, on the other hand, is like a home for your dashboards. So it allows you to display multiple reports, charts, or views from your desktop, from your Workbooks desktop. So not only is this a really helpful way of streamlining your daily workload, but it's also an easy way to jump between multiple dashboards by using tabs. And the biggest bonus is, they're free for every user. So if you aren't using a springboard already, then I recommend that you start using one. So what can be displayed on a dashboard? So we refer to the items or the tiles that can be displayed on a dashboard as elements, and there are 5 different elements that you can add. The first one is reports. So you can choose to display multiple views from the same report or different ones. You can control the number of rows that appear from that report on the dashboard, and you can also display the results as card views to make them look cleaner or make the data more easier to see. You can display charts. So these can be charts of any type and can be added in various sizes to, again, for easier visibility. You can display landing page views, which can give you a quick, lightweight insight into your data. You can also display web pages. So it could be specific web pages that might provide regular updates. So something along the lines of it might a page that displays a service status of a particular website that you want to stay up to date with. Or you could add web processes, so a process like a case or lead allocation script that can be called directly from the dashboard. Now, I won't be covering how to add web pages and processes during this webinar, but I am going to show you how to add reports, charts, and landing pages. So let's jump into Workbooks and take a look. Bring up the correct screen. There we go. So here you can see straight away as I log in as this user, on the screen you can see the Springboard, and it's displayed as like I say, as soon as you log in. Now you should be able to see at the top of the Springboard a number of tabs. These are the different tabs that are applied to this user's, or sorry, these are the different dashboards applied to this user's Springboard. Now currently we're looking at the sales management dashboard, and you can tell this because by the fact that it's underlined and it's emphasized that that's the one you're looking at. And as I scroll down, you'll be able to see that the dashboard is made up of 2 columns, or what I will do is to make it easier to understand. So there's a button at the top left of the Springboard, and you can jump directly to that particular dashboard. So it's probably easier to display it or talk about it from this screen. So you can see that the dashboard is made up of 2 columns of equal ratio. Now, as I scroll down, you can see that there are a variety of elements. So these are the kind of the charts and the reports that I mentioned earlier. And again, you've got an element here that's being displayed as a card. So US team performance and UK team performance. And it, as I mentioned, so if you compare that to say the current pipeline reports, that there's a lot of information there, and probably all necessary information. But again, with something like the team performance, it's a lot more kind of streamlined. It's easier to see probably the data that you actually want to see. If we also look back at the top of the dashboard, you'll see that there's a filter at the top called sales rep name. If I apply a filter to this dashboard now, let's say sales rep starts with Alison, the elements on the dashboard that particular filter is attached to have reloaded. And as you scroll down the page, you'll see that any others that it's attached to will also reload. And again, this just makes it really versatile and allows you to see the data that you want to see. So with that in mind, let's jump in, and we'll start now to set up let's try and create a simple dashboard. So to do this, you can do it from, if you still have the dashboard icon on your desktop, you can jump to it from there, or you can go to Start, Dashboards, New Dashboard, and you have to start by giving it a name. So let's go with the webinar dash. Now you can see that by default there's a column. So sorry, there's a column field on the right hand side, and by default this is set to 2 columns, again of equal ratio. There's variety of options that you can pick from. So that may vary depending on the type of dashboard that you're building, but we recommend have a play with these. You set up a couple of dashboards, choose different options and see which one works best for you. You have the ability to go to here, create new records. Here you have the ability to allow users to create a record type directly from the dashboard. So let's say you're setting up a dashboard looking at support cases. You might want to allow users that are using that dashboard to be able to create a new case directly from it. So a really helpful tool to, again, keep efficiency or kind of keep people doing things faster. And then you've got a bit at the bottom here that talks about Springboards. So again, this is if you want to roll out the dashboard that you've built to a particular user group, and kind of roll out across each member in that group. I'll be coming back. I'll be talking about Springboards a little bit later, so I'll leave that for now. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to add a report. So if I click on the Layout tab, and then we click Add, and then we go to, so as I said earlier, there's 5 elements that you can add. So we want to choose Report. The first thing you need to do then is specify the name of the report that you want to add. So luckily I've got one pre-built, so we're going to go with Demo. And then you have to pick the view. So if your report has multiple views, then you'll need to select the view that you want to display. So I'm going to go Performance QTD. We always recommend to leave a good description on all record types. It just helps you and any other user that's going to use that item. So always do that. In terms of the check boxes that you can see a bit further down, so we have limit results. So this is helpful if you want to do exactly what it says on the tin. Limit the number of rows that appear within the report on the dashboard. You have the ability to allow users to refresh the report on the dashboard. So this is really helpful to allow them to stay up to date with the most recent information. And then they can also, you have the ability to allow them to expand the dashboard, the elements as well, so that it pops up in a larger window. And then finally, there's this field that says element height. So currently it's set to auto, but I don't think that's default for every option or every element of dashboard or every element that you add to a dashboard. But again, this refers to the size of the element that you're adding. So again, as I said about the ratio and columns, play around with it and see which works best for you. So if I go up and click, and if I click save, oh, one thing I didn't mention, sorry, I bypassed that, is the title. So you have the ability to change the title that's displayed on the dashboard as well. So good thing here is it doesn't have to match the underlying report name or view. If you want to change the way it appears on the dashboard, then you can do that. I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to click save. And then you'll see that we have two more tabs that have appeared. So the first one is the report tab. So here you have the ability to change the way that the report looks on the dashboard. So you can apply a filter here, you can change the way that the sort order of the dashboard, you can expose and hide columns. So basically what this means is, again, the brilliant thing about this is if you have a report that you want to share with users, you don't have to share it how it looks to everyone. If you don't want to affect the way that the underlying report looks, you can adjust it on this screen, and then you can click save, and then the report will display how you want it to. It can be configured to how you want it to look. And then we have the field mappings. So this is where you would add a filter to that particular element. Again, I'm not going to touch on that right now, but I will go back into filters a little bit later on in the webinar. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save and close that now. And you can see that, so this is the first element that's added to our dashboard. Now what I want to do is repeat the same steps. And so this time I'm going to add another report. So I'll go back to reports. So I'm going to use the same report that I used before. And this time I'm going to display our top customers. So this time what I want to do is I'll limit the rows to, say, the top 10. And then I'll change the title this time so that users know that they're looking at the top 10 customers. And I'll click save there. This time I'm going to add a chart. So again, same kind of steps that you would take. Add. This time we want to select chart as the element. So same concept, but slightly different this time. So you still want to start by specifying the report that you want to display, but this time this particular field is only going to show you the reports that have a chart built on them. So if there are report names or reports that you can't see in this list, then it might be because it doesn't have a chart view on it. So maybe go and have a look at that and then come back to this screen. So I'm going to go again with the same report. And this time, I think I've only got one chart on here. Yeah, so sales year to date by sales rep. And let's say that we'll change the height of this one. So we'll go with double height. Okay, we'll add that. And then the final one that we'll add is a landing page view. So again, it's the same process, but instead of the report name or you're picking this time, what you want to do first is specify the record type. So obviously all record types should be available within this pick list. What I'm going to do is go with opportunities. And again, you have to make sure that your So the second one is the view. So if you've got various views saved within that record type, then you want to select the view that you want to display. So I'm going to go with, let's just pick closing this month, and we'll just leave it as that. Okay, so as you would have seen, each time we've added an element to the dashboard, it's added to the bottom, or it's the bottom element. So you have to scroll down to see it. Now, one of my favorite things about dashboards is the fact that you can drag and drop the tiles on here so that they can appear how you want them to look. So for example, I might want to chuck the top 10 customers at top left, and then the report, because we added that double height, actually going top right was probably easier for kind of a better looking dashboard. Okay, so let's run that now. So if we go back to the main tab and we click run. There we go, we've run the dashboard, and you can see that just kind of highlighting a few things that you'll be able to see on this screen. So as we left the checkboxes for being able to make them, or to refresh each element as well as expand the element, you can see that we've got, so the kind of circular yin and yang style refresh icon on the element, that'll appear on all of them. So someone just has to click that, and then that will reload that particular one. As well as you've got the kind of directional icon as well, which is the expand option. So just by clicking that, it pops up in a larger window. So if there's more information that you want to see, maybe the chart that you're looking at is too small and you haven't adjusted the size of it yet, you can pop it open to its own window like that. And you also have the ability to jump to the report from that window as well. So that's really helpful tool. Now, let's look at adding a filter. So before we looked at that sales management dashboard, and there was a filter for sales rep. So let's say this time that we want to do the same. So we want to add a filter to look at the sales rep. So filters are really helpful by they just make your dashboard really versatile, and they reduce or take away the need for multiple dashboards. So that's one of the kind of the main reason why they're really beneficial. Now, if I go to, so I've gone back into edit dashboard, and now I want to jump to of the tabs along the top, I want to jump to fields. So first we have to set up the field that we want to filter on, and then create a mapping between that field and the report column, or the underlying report column. So what we're going to go is add, and then we'll need to specify the field name. So let's go sales rep. Then you have to click the data type. So field name being a name, I'm going to use string on this particular occasion. But again, every other option is available. For example, if you wanted to if you're creating a dashboard looking at opportunities, and you wanted to filter on kind of all opportunities of a certain value, you might use a currency filter. Again, if you're looking at support cases and you want to look at cases raised within a particular time frame, you might want to use a date filter. So like I said, they are available if you want to use them. I'm going to use string on this occasion and click create. So then two more tabs appear after that. So we've got the field mapping, and then we've got the view filters. So first we're going to start with field mapping. So this is to add the filter to the element, or the tile, or the element that you want to add the filter to. So I'm going to start with, because we're looking at sales rep, I'm going to start with by looking, so I want to attach it to performance QTD and sales year to date by sales rep. So I start by doing that. So I select performance QTD, and then you have to select the report, or the report column that it holds that information. So as you look at your reports, or your report column, sorry, obviously I want to go with sales rep. A really important thing to highlight here is if your report column doesn't have it doesn't have to have the same name as the filter name that you're creating. But what is important is that you know that it holds the information that you want to filter on. Okay, so I think that's a helpful tip when setting these up. So yep, so sales rep name. So we'll add that. And then I want to repeat the same again because I want to add it to the other element, so the sales year to date. So I'm going to click again, element, sales year to date, report column, sales rep, save and close. Okie dokie. And now we want to go to our view filters tab. And then I want to, so this, sorry, I'm going to click add. So this is adding the filter to the views of the dashboard that you have saved. So I currently only have one view available, which is default. You have to pick your operator. So again, starts with contains or equals, whatever works best for you or what you find the most helpful in this situation. I'm going to go with contains. It is also worth noting that if you were to pick, say, if you were building a filter on or creating a filter on say a date type, a data type, then different options would display within the operator. So similar to reporting, you would see things like in calendar range or before and after. So yeah, so that's also worth noting there as well. We've got the text field. So again, this is helpful if you know that you always want, if you don't want to change the underlying report, but you always know that you want the dashboard to run or load up with a particular filter applied, you can apply that in this text field and it will do that for you. And then we have the editable field as well. So having this particular box ticked as true or ticked, that means that it allows users to modify the filter on the dashboard as well. If you have it unticked, then it actually hides the filter at the top of the dashboard. So you would need, if you do want to do that, again, you need to revert back to the text field, and that's where then your filter will apply. Okay, so I'm going to leave it editable on this occasion. Okay, so let's now go back to the main tab, and we want to save and close that. And let's go back to the main tab of the dashboard, and we want to run it this time. So as you can see at the top, we now have the filter visible on the screen. And if I want to now, if I type in, let's say sales rep contains Alison. Well, that's not a very good example because Alison wasn't in the report. Nope, that doesn't help either. Let me clear the filter. Okay, let's go with Andy. There we go. So sorry about that. So basically, yeah, searching the filter or running it, it then adjusts the elements that it's attached to, and it shows me the data that I wanted to see. So I can see, again, just a click of a button, and it kind of just brings it all up on your desktop screen or on your dashboard, which is great. So I'm really happy with the way that looks now. But the only problem is I haven't shared it with any users or groups. So to do this, the dashboard, obviously, when you create it, you are the owner. So it'll be visible to you, but unfortunately no one else, and depending on your permissions that you have set up. So what we're going to do this time is to share it like any other record type within Workbooks. If you go back to edit the dashboard, you've got the sharing padlock at the top right-hand corner. If we click that, you then have the ability to then add any user or group that you want to share it with, as well as the kind of the permission type or permission role that they can do within that dashboard. And as I said earlier, if you wanted to, let's say you're building a sales dashboard and you want to roll it out to the sales team, then you can apply it to their Springboard, and you may want to add it to all the users within the sales admin group. And again, you'll be able to do that. Okay. If I go back now and run it again, I think it's worth highlighting, which I didn't do earlier, but again, if you're looking at a dashboard, so let's say you go to the start dashboards, and you're looking at the landing page, and you pick to look at a particular dashboard, you'll have, if you ever want to go in and edit it, things are usually hidden behind this hide the menu pane. So clicking that, it pops it out. And then, as you can see, I just wanted to finish up with, so add to my Springboard. So If you're just adding it to your own Springboard, you can click that button and you'll get a notification on the screen. And then, as you can see, just at a click of a button, it just adds straight to your Springboard, and it'll be the last one. Obviously, you can readjust it if you want to, but you can order that in kind of priority. But yeah, you can see straight away that it's added to the Springboard, and then that way, every time, if you were to roll it out to many users or just yourself, the next time that you log in, you should then be able to see that. And sorry, just one thing that I did forget to mention as well, sharing the dashboard. If you do, when we were looking at the sharing padlock, if you do share it with various users, then it's worth noting that it doesn't, so sharing the dashboard will give the user that you're sharing it with access to the report. But if the user doesn't have sharing permissions to the underlying report, then they'll be able to access the report, but they won't be able to drill into it from the dashboard. So that's also another thing worth noting that's quite important here. Okay, so that's how easy it is to build a dashboard. That's add a filter, which is a lot easier than it may sound or look, and then adding it to a Springboard. So I'm going to jump back into the presentation or the slide deck now, and then go into a quick recap. So dashboards. So you can add reports and charts and landing page views, web pages and processes to the dashboard, and they're known as elements. Reports and landing pages can be displayed as cards as well. Dashboards can be made up to a maximum of 3 columns with varying ratios. This can be changed, so it doesn't have to be set up like that. If you decide that you want to change it later, then you can do that. You can change the titles of the elements, meaning that they don't have to match the name of the underlying report or view name. You can also limit the number of results for your reports. The overall number of results users can see on the page will align with what they have set in their preferences. And also you can make you can adjust the element height as well. You can control whether users can expand the element or refresh them. Although these checkboxes are ticked by default, we do recommend that you allow that ability to your users. And sharing the dashboard gives users the underlying access to the underlying reports, but if the underlying report hasn't been shared with the user, then they won't be able to drill into it from the dashboard. You can add filters or saved views on your dashboard, which is a great way of making them more versatile. Please remember that to add a filter, it can only map to a column that's used in your report. So once a dashboard is created, if you decide you want to be able to add a filter on a particular piece of information or data, you can then go back and edit your report, and then in turn you can then edit the dashboard to add the filter. Just to recap it on a couple of things on Springboards. So users can streamline their daily task by centralizing important bits of information on their desktop. For example, again, if you're working in sales, you can have all of your prospect activities visible, as well as have the ability to call them by the click of a button. If you're working in support, you might have having a view on all of your open cases, as well as visibility on I don't know, the order of priority, and that just ensures a more efficient way of handling case handling in alignment with your business SLAs. Users can switch between multiple dashboards by the use of the tabs at the top of the Springboard. They can be rearranged so that you can sort them or order them based on kind of the priority or the ones that you mostly work out of. And again, they're free for all users. So if you aren't using them already, there's at least one, and there is at least one thing to take away from today's session. Make sure it's the use of your Springboard. Hopefully, it will completely change the game in terms of managing your day-to-day. So we've now reached the point of the webinar with any questions. I'll just double check to see if there's anything been asked. Okay, so we've had a question from Sandra. Great question, Sandra. So she's asked, if I share a landing page view on a dashboard, such as my OpenOps, will this show information on the person who created the dashboard or the person viewing it? So again, that's a really good question, actually, and something that we get asked a fair amount in support. So it will actually it will run as the person that's running that dashboard. So if I, for example, I use me and Milo as he's here with me. If I was to create a dashboard and I add my open opportunities, and then I share that dashboard view or that dashboard with Milo, when he runs it, he'll see when he looks at it, he'll see his open opportunities. And again, that's the same with all record types. So if I was to add my people, it would show my people, but then when Milo runs it, it would show the people assigned to Milo. I hope that helps, Sandra. Just checking, just give it a second for any other questions. No, okay. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we're going, so we'll be back in early January with a webinar on creating and editing fields and pick lists. So please keep an eye out for the invite to register. As always, if you need any help with dashboards, springboards, or anything else product related, please check out our knowledge base where you'll find lots of information and hopefully the answer that you need. If you you can get to the knowledge base by clicking on the question marks or the kind of dotted around the Workbooks database, or going to the URL displayed on the screen. Now, if you do happen to find the answer that you're looking for, or it's missing, we do have a page rating feature at the bottom of our knowledge base pages. So please help us help you by clicking taking just a second to click the thumbs up and thumbs down. Alternatively, if you can't find the information you want on the knowledge base, your company system admin can always raise a case with the Workbook support team. You can email us at support@workbooks.com. You can dial one of the numbers on the screen, or your support admin obviously can log a ticket via the case portal, or again, they can reach out to their account manager if they need to, and the account manager will pass the case on to the support team. Users can benefit from the training videos held on our website by going to the link displayed. We also do run a 2-day public training courses on system admin training and reporting. So if you'd like any information on that, then please let us know or speak to your account manager. We'll be more than happy to help. And then finally, a recording of this webinar will be found on the website, as I said earlier. You can find it by going to the URL that you can see there and then clicking on webinar recordings. And that brings us to the end of the presentation. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all again for attending. And as well, thank you all for kind of joining us throughout the whole drop-in webinar series. After the webinar, we do send out a short survey on how they went. So if you can take a second to answer them, your feedback's really helpful, good or bad. Like, it helps us shape the webinars going forward. So please do take a minute to fill that in. And for now, that's all I have. So I hope you all have a wonderful time with friends and family over the next couple of weeks. And everyone has a happy new year. Stay safe. And then we look forward to welcoming you back in for more webinars next year. Thank you, everyone.